It's been really emotional, and as a guy, you try not to show all your emotions, but when somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, you are the one person in this world that can save somebody's life, that's really, really deep. I've cried a lot about it. I'm not a crier by nature, but this means a lot to me, and if it moves me to tears, and that tells me that it means a lot to me. But I'm just a small part of it. I have the easy part. We have a kid that has leukemia. He's got the tough part.
You know him as the guy who anchors the news, but his life isn't much different than anyone else's. He goes to the gym, works out for an hour,
I'm going to be as healthy as I can.
and goes back to work. But Kevin Walsh is special. Out of thousands of people, his body holds a potentially life-saving key.
This is a boy, 16-year-old, who has acute myelogenous leukemia, who is usually the adult-type leukemia, and it's very serious.
Dr. Gresson's 50.
I want you to meet Kevin Walsh.
Kevin was the preferred marrow match for the 16-year-old. That meant a series of blood work at the Sacramento Medical Center Foundation Blood Center, a physical exam, and despite his uneasiness with needles,
How many did you take?
6.
the commitment on his part to go through with a bone marrow donation.
And this is him. When this donation occurs, what will happen before that is the patient will receive a lot of chemotherapy that will take that patient to death's door. He is then rescued by the bone marrow that Kevin will give. This is your back,
Right.
and right along this crest. This bone is very large, and it's kind of spongy, like if you cut it in half, it would look kind of like a sea sponge. There are a lot of nooks and crannies in there, and that's where the stem cells and the newly developed blood cells are made, and that's what we would be going after. You know, a bone marrow transplant is just like a blood transfusion, that it's a fluid that is transfused back into the patient, and that patient will then receive this liquid gold, and it's a gold color, and the patient will receive that, and our hopes and prayers are that this patient will survive as a result of this donation.
So based upon the weight, what's the first cell count going to be? I'm going to say 134.
And in just under 45 minutes, it was all over. Doctors say the recipient will actually become Kevin's blood type, and healthy stem cells will once again be flowing through the 16-year-old's body.
The anticipation was worse than the procedure itself. It's seeing the needles around and everything that was a little rough on the eyes, but really the procedure itself, I wasn't awake during it, and waking up was I'm pleasantly surprised that it was fairly easy after all. Here, I got something here. I actually I wrote a letter already that is traveling with the bone marrow and will go to the family, and it says, "Hello, friend. I know you're a football player, and I used to play quarterback years ago. I've given you the ball, now I want you to run with it. I'll be waiting for you in the end zone. Take care, be strong, and be healthy. Your donor." So that's going with the...
How's the donor doing, or the recipient, I mean?
Well, from what I can tell, it takes about 20 days for the marrow to engraft in his system, and it's been a little more than 2 weeks, so we don't know right now. I believe he's still in isolation, and I won't know who he is until after a year and find out how it all went, because there are certain privacy issues, because sometimes it doesn't always work, and they don't want the recipient's family and also the donor to get too attached, because it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough emotionally on everybody.
You did a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
We want other people to get involved too, so we want to give you some information now on being a donor. There's a National Bone Marrow Donor Program. The number to call is 1-800-MARROW-2 or 1-800-654-1247.